Sunday, June 21st. Hope you're all doing really well. I know I'm doing well. The channel's doing well. Anyone that's been tailing our picks has been doing well. That's for damn sure. But thanks for tuning back in. Before I get into the picks for FIFA World Cup Sunday, June 21st, I'm going to do a quick recap of the picks from Saturday, June 20th, as well as a recap of the picks from this insane hot streak that we are on. We have won 8 out of our last 10 picks. We only have one loss during that stretch. The other result was a push. So we're 8 wins, 1 loss, 1 push in our last 10 FIFA World Cup picks. Back on Thursday, it all started with Canada to record a shutout victory over Qatar at odds of -125 for 1.2 units. Canada won 6-0. That was an easy cash. Then we had Mexico money line to end that Thursday evening. Odds of +100 to defeat South Korea for 1 unit. That cashed. Then on Friday, we started our day with the USA against the spread. USA -1. Odds of +105 for 1 unit. That cashed in USA's 2-0 victory over Australia. Then we had Morocco to defeat Scotland. Morocco on the money line over Scotland, -135 for 1.2 units. That cashed. Then we had Brazil against Haiti under 3.5 total goals. Odds of +110 for 1 unit. That cashed. We finally lost a play with Turkey money line. They lost in horrific fashion against Paraguay. So that was our only loss during this 10 pick run here. And then on Saturday, June 20th, we had the Netherlands and Sweden over 3 goals, odds of +110 for 1 unit. That cashed easily in a 5-1 victory for the Netherlands over Sweden. We then had the Ivory Coast +1 at odds of +100 against Germany, and that was so unlucky not to cash. Germany scored a winner in the last minute of the game. Ivory Coast had the lead for the majority of the game. Ivory Coast had plenty of opportunities to put that game out of reach and just weren't able to do so, but we took a push. Look, we had bad luck and we still got a push. We still came away unscathed. That is how you stay professional in this business. Now, we move on to Ecuador and the Curacao game. We had the under 3 goals at odds of +105 for 1 unit. That cashed. And then finally, we ended our night with Japan -1, odds of +110 for 1 unit. That cashed. You can find that entire graphic and all of those picks on my Instagram story at Cole Mirza. I have that graphic posted, but 8 wins, 1 loss, 1 push in the last 10 picks. We are on fire. Up over 6.4 units during that stretch. Every pick has been documented on this YouTube channel. We go through the picks and predictions every single day. All right, with that being said, thank you again for being here. If you could please just like and subscribe, and also let me know your picks and predictions in the comment section below. All of those things really help the channel grow. Now, let's go ahead and get into the matches for Sunday, June 21st. So first match on the board, we've got Spain taking on Saudi Arabia. Spain coming off of a disappointing draw against Cape Verde. And then Saudi Arabia coming off of a really good result against Uruguay. Now, the Spain obviously are huge favorites in this game. Spain are favored on the spread at -2.5 goals. So will Spain win by 3 goals in this game is one of the questions the odds makers are asking. And I think, will they? I don't know. I mean, Spain just tied against Cape Verde. They tied against Iraq in the lead up to this World Cup. They tied against Egypt in the lead up to this World Cup. And they only beat Peru 3-1. So they haven't won a game by 3 goals in quite a while. Spain's been playing very poorly recently, as we mentioned. Draws against Cape Verde, Iraq, and Egypt in the lead up to this World Cup. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia just tied Uruguay, a very inspirational result there for Saudi Arabia. And they also tied Senegal. And Senegal is a damn good team. So got to give Saudi Arabia a lot of credit for how they've been playing in recent games. Meanwhile, Spain's been playing horribly. Now, obviously, Spain is the much more talented team, and you would expect them to win the game. But are they going to win by 3 goals? I don't think so. I'm going to be backing Saudi Arabia against this or on the spread, plus 2.5 goals. So that means Saudi Arabia needs to lose by 3 or more goals for me to lose my bet. So, if Spain wins by 2 goals, I win. If Spain wins by 1 goal, I win my bet. So, yeah, I just think that, look, I think Spain is likely going to win the game, but I think they're favored by way too much here. I think they're being overvalued and overrated by the general market. And I think Saudi Arabia are going to come in here with a point to prove. Both teams are tied at 1 point. This group is completely wide open. And look, Saudi Arabia has done a good job punching up in the past. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at the matchup, Spain is more talented, but overall, this is a spot where I just think they are way too overrated and overvalued. So give me Saudi Arabia plus 2.5 goals. Odds of minus 125 for 1.2 units. And yeah, I mean, Saudi Arabia have been playing well. They just got a couple of good ties against good teams. Meanwhile, Spain have not won by margin in quite a while with ties against Egypt, Iraq, and Cape Verde. Not impressive. All right, so yeah, what leads me to believe that Spain's going to win by 3 goals out of nowhere randomly, all of a sudden? Well, like, they've been playing horribly, and all of a sudden they're just going to go win by 3 goals? Yeah, let me see that first. So yeah, give me Saudi Arabia plus 2.5 goals, odds of minus 125, 1.2 units. Next up on the board, we are going to move on to the Belgium and Iran game. This is a fun one here. Belgium, I believe, are far more talented than Iran. We saw Belgium, of course, have a disappointing draw against Egypt, but I think Egypt are a quite talented team, and they're going to be a sleeper in this tournament. And then as for Iran, we saw them get a disappointing draw against New Zealand. We actually backed Iran to win that game on the money line. So unfortunate for us on that one. Belgium coming into the tournament beat Tunisia 5-0. They beat Croatia 2-0. They beat the USA, who is everybody's darling right now. Belgium beat the USA 5-2 back in March. That's pretty damn impressive considering what the USA have done recently. And one thing that really stood out to me when handicapping this game was every single one of Belgium's last 6 wins have all come by 2 or more goals. In fact, all of their last 7 wins. Every one of the last 7 wins for Belgium have come by 2 or more goals. So when they win, they typically win by margin. Now for Iran, these guys just haven't played anybody that's good in a very long time, okay? They just tied against New Zealand, and I don't think highly of New Zealand at all. I think New Zealand is actually, quite frankly, very bad. So for me, it's a pretty bad result if you're Iran, if you're tying against New Zealand. Me personally, I think Belgium's going to wipe the floor with Iran here. I think that they have a lot more talent, and Belgium's going to be hungry for a win after a very disappointing tie against Egypt. I think Belgium knows they pretty much have to win this game if they want to win the group, because Egypt's going to be playing New Zealand, and Egypt will be favored to beat New Zealand. So I'm going to be backing Belgium here. And my play for this is Belgium minus 1.5, odds of plus 120 for 0.9 units. And the way I see this game playing out is Belgium dominates. Belgium creates a lot of chances. Iran doesn't really have much of anything going at all. I think Belgium score plenty of goals, and I think Belgium win comfortably. They are the better team. They're in better form. I mean, again, we've noted it. All of their last 7 wins have come by multiple goals. And Iran has not played a team up to the quality of Belgium in a very long time. In fact, it's been years since they've played a team on the level of Belgium. So I think it's going to be a big step up in competition for Iran. I don't know if they're going to be ready for it. Give me Belgium minus 1.5, odds of plus 120 for 0.9 units. All right, next up on the board, we're going to head to the We will head to the Uruguay and Cape Verde game. So Uruguay coming off of a very disappointing draw against Saudi Arabia. Uruguay was expected to beat Saudi Arabia. They weren't able to do that. Uruguay also tied against Algeria. I mean, that's pretty bad. 0-0 tie against Algeria. They tied against England, which is impressive, but they lost 5-1 to the USA back in November of 2025. So Uruguay's been playing horribly. They haven't won any of their last 5 games. They're winless in their last 5. Meanwhile, Cape Verde just got a draw against one of the best teams in the world, Spain. Cape Verde have been playing very strong as of late. They won 3 games in a row coming into that game against Spain. They beat Serbia, they tied Finland, they beat Bermuda, and I think Cape Verde are a little bit underrated. I mean, they got a tie against Egypt, they tied Iran, so they've played teams in this World Cup. And I think that Uruguay is overrated and overvalued here. I mean, what has Uruguay done to show us that they are deserving of being favored by as much as they're favored in this game? Uruguay is favored by odds of -1, so they're favored by a goal at odds of -130. I'm backing Cape Verde plus a goal at odds of +110, which means if Cape Verde loses by a goal, my bet pushes. I get my wager back. If the match ends in a draw, I win my wager on Cape Verde +1. If Cape Verde wins, I win my wager. The only way I lose my wager is if Uruguay wins by 2 or more goals, which I don't see happening here because Uruguay has not even won a game in their last 5 games. Meanwhile, Cape Verde just got a tie against Spain, and Cape Verde has played very tough against every opponent they face. So I think it's more likely that this game ends in a draw than it does Uruguay winning by 2. So I'll put my money on Cape Verde +1 at odds of +110 for 1 unit. I think they're the underrated side here. I think Uruguay is way overrated and way overvalued, and there's a lot of those situations in the FIFA World Cup. And then last but not least, we've got New Zealand and Egypt. And of course, we've just discussed New Zealand had a pretty good tie for them. I mean, it was disappointing for Iran, but a good result for New Zealand to get a draw against Iran. And then Egypt had a great result against Belgium with their draw. Egypt have been playing fantastic coming into this World Cup. They drew against Belgium, as we just talked about. They barely lost to Brazil, but stayed competitive, losing 2-1. They were able to beat Russia 1-0, and they tied Spain 0-0. So Egypt have been playing very well. They've tied 2 top 10 nations recently. They barely lost to Brazil. And then New Zealand is just god-awful. Yeah, I know they tied Iran, but New Zealand has lost 7 out of their last 10 games. And I think there's a strong likelihood they lose this one too. Egypt, for me, has a lot more talent with the likes of Mo Salah and Omar Marmoush. And I think they're just a far superior side that is playing better. I mean, look, they got a tie against Belgium. They got a tie against Spain. And New Zealand has lost 7 out of their last 10 games, and a lot of those losses are against pretty bad competition. So for me, we're going to back Egypt here. Egypt -1, odds of +100 for 1 unit. I think Egypt has a chance to. I think Egypt will win this game by margin. I see Egypt pulling away here, winning this game by 2 goals. I could see 2-0 or a 3-1. And then also, if they win by 1 goal, which I think is also in the cards, we get our money back. So again, if Egypt wins by 1 goal, we push, we win. We don't win anything. We just get our wager back. If Egypt win by 2 or more, we win. And if Egypt do not win the game at all, if it's a tie or if it's a win for New Zealand, then we lose. I don't see that happening. I think Egypt's definitely going to win the game, and I think there's a strong chance that Egypt wins comfortably. So those are the 4 plays in the FIFA World Cup for Sunday, June 21st. Again, we are on a hot stretch right now. We've won 8 out of our last 10 plays. We're 8 wins, 1 loss, 1 push in the last 10. And we're going to try to keep that hot streak rolling into Sunday, June 21st. Here are the 4 plays for Sunday, June 21st. We're going to take Saudi Arabia plus 2.5 goals, odds of minus 125 for 1.2 units. Again, I think Saudi Arabia are undervalued and underrated here, and I think Spain are overvalued and overrated in that spot. We're going to take Belgium minus 1.5 goals at odds of plus 120 against Iran. I think Belgium are underrated in this spot. I think they're playing a lot better than Iran is, and Belgium have won. I should say Belgium's last 7 wins have all come by 2 or more goals. So when they win, they usually win by multiple goals. We're going to take Cape Verde plus a goal, odds of plus 110 for 1 unit. Cape Verde is playing very well. They just tied Spain, and meanwhile, Uruguay has not won any of their last 5 games. They just had a very disappointing draw against Saudi Arabia. Yeah, give me Cape Verde plus the goal there. I think it's very good value. I think Uruguay are overrated and overvalued in that spot. And then last but not least, we'll take Egypt minus 1 goal, odds of plus 100 for 1 unit. I think Egypt are the better side. They've got a lot more talent. They're playing a lot better right now with draws against Spain recently and a draw against Belgium. Meanwhile, New Zealand have lost 7 out of their last 10 games. All right, guys. Let's keep the hot streak going into Sunday, June 21st. Those are the picks and predictions. Let me know what your picks and predictions are in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with a little bit more money in your pocket.